You see, the same God that we're saying might not even exist becomes real to us, but only when we're dying in bed.
Alright everybody, what is up and welcome back to a brand new video of Cocktail You Drop. And guys, in this video I'm going to be attempting to show you guys how to make a shulker farm like this. This shulker farm produces around 710 shulker shells per hour. And if some of you watch my videos, you may recognize this seed as my hardcore seed. I am using this specific seed because I'm attempting to make a shulker farm in my hardcore world. A little bit of a spoiler. And to do so, I want to make it in the overworld. So I need to kind of figure out where the shulkers are going to land, the exact location, and then build a farm in that location. But first things first, figure that out, guys. Make sure you know exactly where your shulkers are going to be landing at when you send them through the portal to the overworld. If you want, you can make this farm in the end. Just make 32 or build 32 scaffolding high. I mean, the shulkers can travel about 15 blocks in any direction. So I usually use about 32 pieces of scaffolding to make sure I am high enough in the sky that they literally cannot teleport anywhere else. After that, you're going to want to build out 7 blocks in each direction. So basically, obviously, you build out 6 blocks, but for the 7th block, you're going to want to basically make it a back piece, if that makes sense. So basically 6 blocks outwards and then 1 block for the back piece. After that, add 1 block on each side for a wall piece and bring your wall piece all the way over to the scaffolding. Continue this on all 4 corners, basically making a giant plus shape in the air. Side note, if you want to make this farm half as efficient but make the work a little easier on yourself, the way you could do that is instead of making it a plus shape, just connect one side to the other, basically making it a long tunnel. If you're using the half efficiency farm, right now is where you would basically ignore what I'm doing. Like I said, you just make it into a tunnel. If you're using the farm that produces 710 shulker shells an hour, then as I said previously, continue your shape into basically a giant plus in the sky. And even if you were going to use the half design, you could actually make it into the quote-unquote full-size design per se. And then you could just only use 2 sections of it, so that way you could always, improve the farm bigger as you want to. Heck, if you wanted to, you could literally just use 1 out of all 4 of the, pods per se, for lack of better words. And, I mean, at that point, you'd be getting a quarter of the 710 shulker shells. But, like, if you really wanted to, you could just use 1, pod section for the shulkers. However, yeah, like I said, to run this farm at full capacity, you're going to want to fill all 4 pods up. At this moment, I'm just doing what I was explaining at the beginning about, filling in the walls and bringing it all together. So, yeah, I made the skeleton or the outline per se, and now I'm just kind of filling everything in. I guess I should have also said you need to put a roof on it. Just make it a 2-block hole and put a roof on it. But, yeah, put a roof on it. And I feel like I gotta say this ahead of time, just so there's no hate or whatever, but, yeah, this is, like, my 2nd time making this farm, okay? Like, I spent a few hours making different designs, trying different things, testing different methods out. Heck, I even realized that shulkers don't teleport if there's no valid blocks around them and you break the block they're under. Wow. That was almost a tongue twister. But yeah, if you break the block they're under, and there's no valid blocks from the teleport, they stay where they're at. So if you can somehow get under a shulker, and while it stays where it's at, the shulker will shoot downwards, killing itself. That's actually a pretty good method, and I thought I could do something with that. There is probably something I can do with that, but this farm does not take those mechanics into consideration. I was just mentioning that because, like I said, I've spent hours trying to figure out the best farm here. So basically, I built it once, and it was all through trial and error. This is the 2nd time I'm building this farm, but the first time I'm actually building it. So I'm going to be getting a few things wrong, guys, okay? I have to keep going and checking my main design and stuff. So if there's some glass pieces that I place down and I have to break or something, don't get mad at me, okay? Bring Silk Touch with you. If you don't have a glass and or Silk Touch, then use leaves, okay? Get a whole bunch of leaves and use those as the building blocks because leaves are transparent. But yeah, don't get mad at me because there's going to be a lot of glass breaking here, so fair warning, have Silk Touch. You don't need to do this part. I'm just doing it because it makes the hole easier to find, no pun intended, but yeah, basically, I'm adding tinted glass around the area that I need to basically find. So that's something else I didn't think of. You could actually use tinted glass to make your farm. That way you wouldn't need Silk Touch, but yeah, I guess that's up to you. And I'm not sure if you noticed there, but I placed one glass block on top of the scaffolding to make it completely level. That's where I'm going to be standing to AFK this farm, is on that block right there. Now comes the fun part. For me, I was able to do this easily because I'm in creative mode and I can fly. For you guys, it's going to be a little harder. You're going to need to either use some sort of building block or scaffolding, honestly. Scaffolding is probably your best bet. Either that or just start using building blocks off of a corner of the scaffolding and make a giant platform underneath this entire farm. That way you can basically use that platform to walk around and place hoppers. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to run hoppers underneath the farm. A second method that might be a little more cost efficient would be, instead of using hoppers, to use a minecart and some powered rails, and then running those minecarts, with a hopper of course, underneath where the shulker shells should drop at. That might be a more cost efficient way to do this. However, I made my farm with hoppers, so I'm going to be explaining this the hopper way. What you're going to want to do here is go to each end of your plus shape. Basically, it's going to be the pod area. So you're going to want to go to the pod area, and you're going to want to place hoppers underneath to basically lead to a specific direction. You're going to want all four of them to connect to each other, and then you're going to want all four of them, where they connect, to end up going to a chest, if that makes sense. At the moment, I'm trying to do this, quote-unquote, as survivalistically as possible. I don't think that's a real word, but yeah, basically I'm trying to do this like I was in survival mode. Unfortunately, I find out that that's really not going to work. I mean, if I had a platform underneath this, it probably would work, but like I said, I'm in creative mode. I'm going to do this the easy way, okay? I'm taking the easy routes. I am sorry that I'm going to be forcing you guys to go work a little harder than I am, but I'm going to have to redo this anyway for my hardcore world and my normal world anyway, so, like, yeah, I think it's a decent trade-out. I will leave the raw footage of me just kind of experimenting and moving hoppers around and placing them around so you guys don't miss out on any details, just in case you don't understand what I was saying there when I'm referring to, like, you know, leading all the hoppers to one specific area. I do end up using glass as kind of my placement block, so like I'll make a line of glass, I'll break one piece, place a hopper, break another piece, place a hopper, break another piece, place a hopper, and the reason I do that is so I don't need to, like, you know, stand on a block and crouch to place a hopper into a hopper, because if I was trying to do that, then obviously I wouldn't be able to fly. So yeah, when you see me place a block of glass down that I break, or if you see me break or place a block of glass down that shouldn't be there, it doesn't look like it should be there, and then I break it, though, yeah, that's kind of confirmation for you that, yes, you should definitely put a hopper in that area. Obviously, everyone's hopper systems could work differently. They're just hoppers. It's just to get resources from one point to another. So you do you when it comes to the hopper system. Like I said, will just show you guys the raw footage of me putting hoppers into a specific line, because, yeah, basically, I figure it's good to show. A little bit of a side note, it's not something, again, that you guys really need to do or pay attention to, but remember when I put those 4 tinted glass on top? So, basically, not where the tinted glass is if you keep going down, but 1 block outwards from the tinted glass. So, if you, like, see where the tinted glass is, if you look 1 block outwards and you go down, you basically, like right there, right where I place that glass at, you don't want to have hoppers in that area. I mean, you can have hoppers there, but it just makes it a little harder when you're putting your armor stands down, because you got to put a piece of carpet, you got to put the armor stand down, you got to break the block that you placed the armor stand on. You then got to place a glass block above where you want it to be with a piston looking at it, and then push the glass block down into the armor stand. It's a little bit of a nightmare. So basically, moral of the story: try to not put hoppers on the one block extending the tinted glass. If you put it where the tinted glass is, like, again, not up there, but underneath the tinted glass, if you put it there straight down, that's perfectly fine. But one block outwards, going downwards, of course, from the tinted glass is not all right. I mean, it works, but it makes it harder. I hope I explained that decently. If I didn't, when you're going to place the armor stands, you'll realize what I mean. So that's the hopper system set up. At this point of the farm is where you actually use some solid blocks. So far, no shulkers can teleport on any blocks up here. So by placing a solid block right in that location, I can guarantee that if I bring shulkers here, that they're going to teleport right onto that block. Also, remember that each solid block that you place is the equivalent of one shulker. So, by placing those 2 blocks over there, that's the equivalent of me getting 2 shulkers. By placing 2 blocks in that other area, it's the equivalent of me getting 4 shulkers. By placing 2 more, it'd be 6, and then 2 more would be 8. So, you guys can run this farm with only 2 shulkers. If you do that, just make sure you only place 2 blocks, and then you don't place the other 6. Or you can obviously run this with 8 shulkers and 8 blocks. After that, do what I just did there with the scaffolding to build a little area out and place a button on top of the scaffolding. Shulkers can teleport on top of the scaffolding, so by placing a button like that, you basically guarantee that the shulkers cannot teleport on top of the scaffolding. Now comes the inside of the farm, the guts, if you will, the mechanics. So basically, you're going to want to get yourself some water, some soul sand, some buttons, all the fun stuff. You're then going to want to head inside the farm and place soul sand 1 block away from the solid blocks that you placed. It does make it a little easier if you destroy that one of the solid blocks and then replace it, but you can do that if you want, you don't need to. After you place the soul sand, make sure you place 1 button in front of the soul sand and 1 button on the ceiling. The 1 button in front of the soul sand will ensure that no shulkers can teleport onto the sides of the soul sand. Even though soul sand is not a solid block, the sides are technically considered like solid blocks, so shulkers can teleport onto them. And then the button on top stops water from flowing, into the little pod chamber. So to get out, do what I just did there. Break the glass with Silk Touch. Obviously, replace your, solid block, and repeat in all 4 areas. Something I forgot to do while building this farm, but something you guys should 100% do, because if you don't, you're going to have the same problem that I had. So something you should 100% do is watch this, guys. When you place the soul sand, you place a button here and a button here. Go to the other side of the soul sand and do the same thing on the other side. One button on the ceiling and one on the ground. I did not do that, guys. I only placed the one on the ceiling to stop the water, and I forgot to place the one on the ground, so when I brought 8 shulkers over here, 4 of those shulkers ended up teleporting onto the soul sand, and it was not good. So, make sure you don't make the same mistake I did. When you place the soul sand down and you place the 2 buttons, make sure you also place the 2 buttons on the other side of the soul sand as well. I also don't know why, but in my mind, I thought I only did 3 of these, so I start breaking this one and realize, wait a minute, I already placed the buttons, I already did all 4. So, yeah, just make sure you do all 4, and if you do 4 thinking you did 3, then I guess extra credit to you, you were in the zone or something. Okay, remember when I said to come to the other side of the soul sand and place 1 button on the ceiling and 1 on the ground? You can do that, but actually it's probably best to place 1 button on the wall and 1 on the ground, because we're going to need to put armor stands in here, and to do that we're going to need to break the ceiling. So if you want to put buttons on the ceiling instead of on the side piece like I am doing, then what you're going to need to do is basically not put the water in, put the armor stands in first, or put the armor stand in first. Yeah, I think you can do that, and then put a button. Honestly, I don't know if you can put a button down with an armor stand in the same block. I don't know if that would work. So maybe you can't place the button on the top and you have to place them all on the side like I did. But I guess my bad with the wording. Don't place the button on the top, place it on the side, but the same difference, I guess. After that, place 1 block of glass on top of the button that you have on top of the scaffolding. You can do this easily by crouching, and by doing this, it basically helps you put all 4 armor stands easily where they need to be. And just a little bit of more information about this farm. You technically don't need the armor stands, if I'm being 100% honest. I just use the armor stands as extra safety. So armor stands have a hitbox, so if a shulker does shoot at you, obviously they're going to be shooting at you, but if it does somehow go through the other shulker or glitch through the wall or whatever, basically you can ensure that's not going to glitch through the armor stand, because it's going to hit the armor stand. The armor stand is going to start levitating, but it's not going to be able to move, so it's going to stay in the exact same location. And just so you guys know, this farm needs to be this big. It cannot be shrunken down anymore, and the reason it needs to be this big is because sometimes shulkers will not duplicate when they die to a shulker bullet if they are too close to another shulker. So I think the distance is like 8 blocks if I'm correct. So there's 4 blocks in each direction, and plus my middle one being the 9th block. So basically, I guarantee 100% that all of these shulkers are going to 100% duplicate the moment they die. So this farm is the smallest you can make it. So if you guys are trying to make it smaller, don't do that, guys. Like, it will not work. It has to be this big. You can't make it smaller. I mean, if you can, props to you, but to my knowledge, you cannot. Alright guys, so remember what I said at the beginning of the video about this being the same seed as my hardcore world? Well, there's a reason for that, and as I previously said, the reason for that is that I can see exactly where the shulkers are going to land at. So you're going to want to do the exact same thing on your, on your creative copy of a seed or whatever that you have, and you're going to want to figure out exactly where the shulkers land at. By doing so, you can basically either A, make another platform on top of this farm to, quote-unquote guarantee you catch shulkers, Or B, you can make it in the exact location where they're going to land and make sure that all the boats end up landing right on top of this farm and you have all the shulkers in the, exact location you need them to be. Now, if you somehow or for some reason don't want to or misplace it or whatever, you can always put the shulkers in a boat, tie the boat to a lead, and then bring the lead up scaffolding. Although the shulkers will still be able to hit you with levitation if I'm correct, so if you do something like that, make sure that you're well prepared. You have some ender pearls, maybe a elytra. Make sure that you can, get out of there if need be, that you can drop the shulkers, on top of the farm, etc., etc. And remember what I said a little bit ago about messing up the thing and not placing a button in the proper spot? Yeah, this is what's happening right now. This is why 4 out of the 8 shulkers ended up teleporting onto the soul sand instead of the proper location, is because I didn't place the block or the correct button right there. So now I gotta go and get rid of all these shulkers, put 4 more in, remove the armor stands, place the button, and then re-put the armor stands back in their proper locations. And remember what I said at the beginning about making a platform underneath your farm so you can place all the hoppers in the proper location, and how you should probably do that out of glass, but maybe you can do it out of scaffolding. Yeah, if you did it out of scaffolding, make sure you 100% remove the scaffolding before you get the shulkers, because if you don't, they're more likely going to teleport onto the scaffolding than, where they're properly supposed to be teleported. Now that the button thing is taken care of, I can put the 4 armor stands back where they need to be. So obviously, place them in the same spot and break the glass and then, put the glass back on top. As I was saying before though, if you have hoppers where these armor stands are, like underneath them, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to place a glass block on top of where they are, on top of where you were going to be putting the glass block at. And then you're going to need to push it down with a piston. So I recommend putting a piece of carpet on top of the hopper, dropping the armor stands down like that, putting the glass 1 block above where you want it to be, and then, pushing it down with a piston. So I placed 4 shulkers, because there was 4 that I killed, so I placed 4 more at the top of this farm, and as we can see by watching them, obviously, they all teleport to their proper location. I think technically all but 1 teleport. So I end up save and quitting the game and relogging in, and in case you guys didn't know, there's a glitch in Bedrock where sometimes they don't teleport to the proper blocks that they're supposed to, but by saving and quitting and relogging into the game, it basically fixes that problem. So as you can see, there's just 1, lone shulker sitting at the top of the farm. There's still a block he can teleport to, but he's not teleporting to that block, so I'm going to save and quit and reload the game. Now that I have reloaded the game, he is still where he was when I previously saved and quit, but if I give it a few seconds, he's going to realize that there's a valid block he can teleport to, and he's going to teleport over there. And there he goes. He teleported to the proper block. So now that all the shulkers have teleported properly, now that you have the farm built and you have the hopper system all leading to 1 chest, what do you do now? Well, remember that platform that I told you about before having underneath your farm? If it was made out of glass and you left it, nice. If it was made out of scaffolding and you had to break it, not so nice, but use some glass and yeah, basically make a little platform around the farm. And as we can see, by going into survival mode and standing in the farm in the proper location, it does work. Like, the shulkers end up hitting each other and they kill each other and reduplicate. However, our drops will not go down into the hoppers. So to fix this, like I said, that platform underneath, you'll need to stand on. It needs to be transparent blocks. Make sure you do not use any solid blocks, because if a shulker sees a solid block, it will teleport. So yeah, make sure that there is no solid blocks that you're using to build the platform underneath. And what you're going to want to do is, in one swift motion, you're going to want to do that basically. Just 1, 2, 3 with your pickaxe. You're going to want to get rid of all 3 of these blocks as fast as possible and then replace the glass. Ready? Just like this. 1, 2, 3, and then replace the glass. If you leave the solid block like that for even a few seconds, there is a chance that a shulker will leave its location and teleport onto the block. I was trying to make it happen here, by going a little slower, but I didn't want to go, too slow, and yeah, because obviously it's not going to happen every time, but it will happen. So by having those 8 blocks there, it makes it so there's only 8 blocks where the shulkers can teleport, and then by fastly removing them, basically not allowing any shulkers to scan the area and find a valid block, you can make sure that all 8 of them stay in their proper locations. So, now if you've built the farm properly, and or if I've explained it properly enough, everything should be ready to go, and everything should be in the proper location. All you gotta do now is go into survival, or if you're, in hardcore and you built this in survival or something, then, stay where you're at. All you gotta do now, though, is basically go inside of your farm, lower yourself down as far as you can, and stand in this location. There is one more thing you can do, and I did it after, I built the farm, so obviously you don't need to do it, but it's just another level of safety, and what you can do is you can build yourself a little platform around the top of your farm. So, like, let's say a shulker bullet hits you, right? Well, if it hits you, and if you happen to teleport or levitate upwards, by having a little, block area on top of your head, you can basically guarantee that the worst that's going to happen is your shulker farm is going to shut off from you teleporting and you're not going to die, which is very helpful in hardcore. I guess there's one more thing you guys can do. This is a optional thing. I prefer it, so that's why I'm mentioning it here. It's me preferred, but this part's optional. But basically, put 4 trapped gates right around your scaffolding, and then open them all 4 up. By doing so, you'll create a little box that you can't escape out of, and yeah, that box is pretty awesome to, help you get a general idea of where you need to stand. Now, all 8 of these shulkers are going to be shooting at me. They're going to be killing each other, and when they kill each other, they're going to be dropping their shells, but also duplicating, and I'm going to be getting 710 plus shulker shells an hour. Technically, I got 720 shulker shells, but, I minused off 10 just to make sure that, I'm giving you guys at least proper numbers. That and, 710 upside down. You get me? You get me? 710 upside down, But yeah, guys, with that being said, that's going to be the end of this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you're all having a great day. If you guys did enjoy this video, or if this shulker farm helped you in any way, shape, and or form, then guys, a like and or subscription would be amazing. I know everybody says that, guys, but like, come on, look at my channel, click on my profile picture if you want, click about information. Check when I started my channel, check when I started uploading videos first, and check how long it's been since I've continually kept uploading videos, okay? I've been doing this for, 8.5 years, basically, of my life, and I have 900 subscribers to show for it, guys. So, I don't know, if that's not dedication or insanity, then I don't know what is. So, yeah, if you guys enjoyed, a like and or subscription would be amazing. I will catch you all later, and peace out, everyone. See ya.